Let's make onion rings. Okay, I'll be using a yellow onion. Cut the onions thick. You want them nice and thick. And all you have to do is just peel it and just separate them layer by layer. Okay, for our batter, flour, water, egg powder, sugar, and black pepper. Plain flour, toss in your onions, and just do a light coating of flour. Batter. Then straight to our panko. Now fry your onion rings. Season with salt. Now dip it in our homemade chipotle ranch. This is how you make buffalo chicken dip. Cream cheese, red hot sauce, garlic powder, some cayenne, kosher salt, black pepper. And we're gonna fold it, just a little bit of sugar, and a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Toss in our chicken that we just shredded, give it a good mix, cheddar cheese, and mozzarella. And some ranch dressing, and give it a mix. Can't forget the green onions, because we have to be healthy. Hope I made you proud, Calvin. Transfer it to an oven-safe bowl, more cheese in the top. And we're gonna bake this until it's nice and melted. Alright, some green onions because we're on a diet. I made too much buffalo filling from yesterday's video, so we're making a dip because food waste is bad. This is how you make pickles in 20 minutes. Cut our cucumbers nice and thin. Then we're gonna add 3 parts of sugar and 1 part salt. So the salt is gonna pull the water from the cucumber and it's gonna mix with the salt and the sugar, and that becomes our brine. We're gonna let this rest for 15 to 20 minutes and it should be ready. This is perfect for a garnish, or if you're eating something rich, just have this on the side to balance everything out, or just a quick snack. This is how you make panna cotta. My body don't jiggle jiggle. Add your cream, low medium heat, and add your sugar. Add your vanilla. Give it a good mix. Pinch of salt for good luck. Once it boils, add the gelatin. Give it a mix. Put it in a container. And we're gonna put them in the fridge until they're set. It melted too much. You can pair this with chocolate, with fruits, whatever you want. You can even have it plain. This is how you make crispy eggplant. See, I'm not the biggest fan of eggplant, but I can eat a lot of this. Alright, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna peel the eggplant. Okay, for this recipe, we're using a Chinese eggplant because a regular eggplant's too chunky. You want a skinny one so it can fan out. Alright, now it has been peeled, we're just gonna cut it lengthwise like this. And we're gonna turn it and do it all over again. Okay, so if you did it right, your eggplant should be able to dance like this. Next step is to make the batter. 2 eggs, flour, chicken stock powder for flavor, pinch of salt, some black pepper. Then you're gonna coat the eggplant completely with this. Panko breadcrumbs. Okay, now that looks beautiful. We're gonna transfer it to a wired rack. We're just gonna let that cool down. Now, can you cut them into matchsticks and fry them like a regular person would? Absolutely, but that's not fun. And I'm just trying to provide options. Okay? Okay. This is how I like to season my meat. Pause. Let me show you. Here we have a beautiful thick ribeye, and I'm just gonna season this with kosher salt. Since this is a thick piece of meat, I'm gonna be generous with the seasoning. Season both sides. Now you're gonna leave this uncovered in the fridge overnight. And that is it. Now the reason why I like this method is that it seasons the steak inside and outside. And that's because of osmosis. Through osmosis, the salt is gonna draw out the liquid from the beef. It's gonna mix in with the salt. And through time, it's gonna be reabsorbed in the meat. And the longer it sits, the deeper the flavor gets. But do not try this method if you don't have time to wait for the liquid to get reabsorbed, or else it's gonna be bad. And this is how you make the classic street food sauce in the Philippines. Make the sauce, water, soy sauce, black pepper, and add your slurry. Now bring it to a boil. You want it nice and thick, like this. This is pretty much the sauce that street vendors offer you in the Philippines. You dip it in fish balls, squid balls, kikiam, kwek-kwek, hot dogs, anything you want. Sweet, savory, and delicious. This is how you make the perfect egg for ramen. Not too hard, not too soft, but perfect. Okay, you want to bring your water to a boil, but not like a rolling boil. Just a medium boil. And we're gonna place the eggs gently into the water, or else it's gonna crack. Alright, after 7 minutes, straight to an ice bath. Alright, this ice bath step is key. This stops the cooking process of the egg. If your yolk has that gray outer layer, that's overcooked. You don't want that. This is how you make Cheesecake Factory's Buffalo Blasts. Alright, we're gonna cook our chicken breast. 1 egg, water, then flour. Season flour, seasonings. Make the dip, cream cheese, red hot sauce, garlic powder, some cayenne, kosher salt, black pepper. Then we're gonna fold it, just a little bit of sugar, and a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Toss in our chicken that we just shredded. Give that a good mix. Get your wonton wrapper. Put your filling, the batter we made earlier. Fold it. There we go. Into the batter and straight to the seasoned flour. Now you have this unnecessarily breaded wonton wrapper. Now we just fry it. I really don't get why they bread it like fried chicken, but it is what it is. You can honestly skip the breading part. Just fry the wonton right away, but up to you. If you just started cooking, you might want to stay for 20 seconds. This will save you from future accidents and future pain. Okay? I want you to pretend that this is hot oil and this is a piece of steak, okay? Alright, whenever you're about to sear a steak, you want to place the steak away from you. Like that. So that when the oil splatters, it's away from you. Do not place the steak towards you in your direction. It can potentially splatter to your face or your arms. See this scar right here? I got this when I just started cooking and it's still with me. This is how you make one of my favorite Filipino dishes, tokwat baboy. The pork belly and tofu with this sauce, oh, I can eat this every day. Alright, we have our pork belly, preferably with the skin on. We're gonna boil the pork. Then we're gonna let this rest and dry in the fridge overnight. Okay, it's been overnight. We're gonna cut it in half so it's easier to fry. Fry our pork. Raise the temperature and fry it the second time. Okay, now we have our tofu. Pat it dry. Cut this in half. Cut it in smaller cubes. Green onions. Rough chop some garlic. Red onion. Thai chili pepper. Okay, for the sauce, vinegar, soy sauce, sugar, salt, black pepper, garlic, the red onions, the chili peppers, some of that green onion. Add your tofu, add your crispy pork belly, drizzle in that sauce. Do not be shy with that sauce. Some green onions. Let's make kwek kwek. This is one of my favorite snacks growing up. Alright, boiling water, cook your quail eggs. Just peel. Okay, we're gonna make our batter. Flour, cornstarch, baking powder, salt, and mix well. This is optional, but orange food coloring. Plain flour, and into our orange batter. Fry our eggs. Now dip it in our homemade kwek kwek sauce. One of my favorite things to eat in the summer, cold soba noodles. This is what I make whenever I don't feel like cooking. First things first, we're gonna cook our soba noodles. Now into the ice bath. Okay, now we're gonna make our dipping sauce. Water, soy sauce, mirin, dashi, sugar. Give that a good mix. I'm gonna put the sauce in a different container. Also into the ice bath. Sesame seeds, your nudes, your seaweed. This is how you make corn creme brulee. That is really good. First things first, you need your corn. Then we're gonna blend. Strain. Cook the corn. Once it's nice and thick like this, it's ready. Alright, then you need 3 egg yolks, sugar. We're gonna beat this until it's nice and pale. Then we're gonna add a heavy cream, corn puree, kosher salt, and a touch of vanilla. Mix it lightly. Go back to the blender. We're just gonna blend for a few seconds. I'll transfer it to a little ramekin. We're just gonna wrap it in foil. We're gonna let this cool down completely before we put the sugar on top. Once it's cooled down, we're gonna add the sugar. Alright, hear me out. Many countries actually make dessert using corn, okay? I'm not the only one, but it's really good. So if you like corn, I suggest you try it. This is how you make ube halaya or ube jam. Delicious. Alright, to start the jam, coconut milk. We're gonna bring this to a boil. Once it starts to boil, we're gonna add the ube. A tablespoon of butter. After 5 minutes, we're going to blend this. Half a cup of evaporated milk. Now back in the pan, now I'm gonna add a teaspoon of ube extract just to make the color darker. Add 1 can of condensed milk. I like my ube not as sweet, but you can add more condensed milk if you prefer it sweeter. So we're gonna cook this in medium heat for 30 minutes and make sure to mix it constantly so it doesn't burn. More butter, just to make it even richer. Okay, once you have the consistency, you're pretty much done. Put it in any container you want. Now you can make a pie with this, you can put it as a topping, with your ice cream, with your bread, anything you want, or you can just eat it with a spoon. That's how you make a Filipino classic, afritada. Look how tender that is. This dish always brings me back to my childhood. Okay, medium heat, oil, onions, Alright, garlic and tomato. And black pepper. Add your meat. I'm using pork ribs and pork belly. Tomato sauce, water, then pork stock cubes. Now add your bay leaf. Once it starts boiling, put the lid on, bring it down to a simmer, and we're gonna cook this until the pork is tender. Okay, once the pork is nice and tender, add your potatoes and your sausages. We're gonna bring this back to a simmer and cook until the potatoes are done. And bell pepper. And peas if you want. I had canned peas in the pantry, but you can use fresh or frozen peas as well. Now pair it with some white rice. Oh. This is how you make pork belly sisig. Another Filipino dish that's better than adobo, but that's just me. Alright, we have our pork belly. I prefer it with the skin because it's gonna be crispy. Boiling water, salt, bay leaves, onion, garlic, and black pepper. And we're gonna let this boil until it's tender. Now we're gonna let this rest and dry in the fridge overnight. It's been overnight, cut it in half. Chop. Red onion. Spring onions. Thai chili peppers. We have our liver. Butter. Add bouillon cube or salt, soy sauce, calamansi juice, mayo. Just adds that extra richness. Now heat up your hot plate. Onions, chili peppers. This dish is best with ice cold beer. You're welcome. Eating grilled cheese and tomato soup is just a weird way of eating pizza. Think about it. Okay, start off with any bread you like, with generous amount of butter and just a little bit of flaky salt. Now we're gonna place the bread, and this is in low heat. And add your cheese, Gouda on one side, and this is smoked cheddar. You want to properly caramelize the butter, so we're gonna cook it nice and slow. Patience is key. Now dip it in our creamy tomato soup. Let's make pickle grilled cheese. Alright, this is the best grilled cheese I've ever made. For the bread, use whatever bread you like. The assembly is pretty simple. Use whatever cheese you like. I'm using Vermont cheddar, some aged Gouda, or Gouda as the Europeans say it, and our classic American cheese. And of course, the main character of this video, pickles. For the pickles, I'm using kosher and bread and butter. Tablespoon of butter. Alright, once the butter is melted, carefully place your bread. Now we're just gonna gently toast the bread in low heat so that it evenly caramelizes both sides. Okay, a little learning moment for all of us. So once the cheese is nice and melted, then we add the pickles and we are going to flip. Now that looks pretty good. Should be done. Okay, so we all know grilled cheese is very heavy and rich. The pickles really cut through all of that. It's perfect. Let's make avocado toast. Savory breakfast is the best kind of breakfast. Don't at me. Avocado. I'll give it a good mash. Some lemon juice. Salt to taste. Black pepper. Crushed red pepper. Some cilantro. Alright, butter. Now treat your toast like royalty, okay? They deserve it. Don't forget to season your bread. Salt and pepper. The avocado. Putting an egg each. Parmesan cheese. Use whatever cheese you have. It's a touch of goat cheese. Red pepper. And some dill to make it look fancy. Let's make sesame noodles. Ever since my friend Derek taught me this recipe, I've been obsessed. Check out his content, he is awesome. In boiling water, cook your noodles. Cucumber, cut it into matchsticks. And some cilantro. And some green onions. Before you drain the noodles, save some of the water. Alright, to make the sauce, you need peanut butter, sesame paste, grated garlic and ginger, sugar, salt, sesame oil, soy sauce, black vinegar, the pasta water we saved earlier. Give it a mix. Add the nudes. Give it a mix. Just add your cucumbers, your cilantro, green onions, and some chili crunch. This is ube. Ube is native to the Philippines and it's really hard to find in America. And since I found one, might as well show it. Ube is purple yam. It's not purple potato. It's not taro. It's purple yam. So ube is mainly used for desserts in the Philippines. So we cook this and we mash it and we make a jam called ube halaya. I made a video of it previously. Check it out. So this flavor is actually pretty trending nowadays. People make cheesecakes out of it, donuts, ice cream, whatever you like. So yeah, this is ube. I don't know how to end this video, so I think I'm just gonna cut. This is how you make watermelon lemonade. This is a good way to use all of the watermelon you just bought. Alright, obviously you need a watermelon. cut the bottom also, but not too much. Just make a little base. And we're just gonna scoop the flesh out. I'm gonna add some lemonade. And a touch of sugar. This all depends how sweet your watermelon is. Up to you. You can obviously make lemonade from scratch, but since I already have this in the fridge, might as well use it. Do whatever you want. Banana ketchup. What is it? Alright, so in my last video I mentioned banana ketchup. And when so many people asked me what it was, it made me realize I really don't know much about this ingredient. I love the flavor, I grew up eating it, but I really don't know the history, so I did a little research. It says here that the banana ketchup was created by a food chemist and innovator, Maria Orosa. She saw that the Philippines was heavily reliant on imports like tomatoes, and at the same time she understood and envisioned the vast potential of a great many products endemic to the island nation, that, when used properly, could make the country more self-sufficient. So one day she created a banana sauce with mashed bananas, vinegars, and spices. The brownish yellow color was not very appetizing, so a little red dye was added, turning it to what is known today as banana ketchup. Okay, so now we know the history. What does it taste like? So it's mostly sweet, it's tangy, it's really hard to explain. You just have to try it. It's an acquired taste, obviously, but I grew up eating it, and knowing the history of it, I love it even more. This is Filipino innovation at its finest. This is how you make honey butter potato mochi balls. Alright, here we have a potato. Just gonna cut our potato in even pieces. Alright, starting with cold water, we are going to simmer until fork tender. Then mash. Then we're gonna add sugar, butter, salt, and glutinous rice flour. And we're going to knead until it's nice and smooth. If it looks like that, you should be good. Now for the cheese, I'm using mozzarella, but you can use whatever cheese you like. Just get yourself a small ball, put some cheese, and cover it up. Don't make it too thin or else the cheese is gonna ooze out whenever we fry it. Alright, medium heat, add some oil. We are going to fry in batches. For the honey butter sauce, butter, a teaspoon of kosher salt. I'm using whipped honey, but you can use regular honey. Now drizzle your honey butter. This is how you make Nashville hot chicken sandwiches. Now look at that crust. Alright, boneless, skinless thighs. Alright, we're just gonna season the chicken lightly because the breading has enough salt. Alright, let's make the batter. 1 egg, flour, and your water. For the seasoned flour, and your seasonings. Plain flour, then into the batter, then the seasoned flour. Press hard, then immediately fry your chicken. Coleslaw, we're using green and red cabbage. Throw in some carrots if you want. Add your dressing. Now time to make the hot oil. Spices, and we are going to add the hot oil that we use to fry the chicken. Be very careful because this is really hot oil. If you don't use hot oil, the chicken's going to be very soggy. Let the excess oil drip. Now for the assembly, I like to add a little bit of ranch. Now add your Nashville hot chicken, the slaw, and the crown. Puto. I'm not talking about your ex or your current man's. I'm talking about Filipino steamed cakes, and it's easy and delicious. You thought. Okay, to make this puto, we need milk, egg, vanilla, and melted butter. Give it a good whisk. Then we're gonna add our dry ingredients: flour, sugar, and baking powder. Give it a good whisk. Mix until it's nice and smooth. Now if you want to add flavoring like ube or pandan, now is the time. I would add a teaspoon at a time. Now we're just gonna spray this with oil. And we're gonna put this in a steamer. Now we're gonna steam this until it's fully cooked. Once it's fully cooked, I like to add cheese on top. Put it back in the steamer for a minute. Now that's the only puto you need in your life. Let's make pork tocino. Now eat this with garlic rice and egg. It's over. Okay, I'll be using pork belly, but you can also use shoulder or anything you want. Now we're gonna score it. Sugar, garlic, soy sauce, vinegar, pineapple juice, and some red food color. Salt, black pepper. Now put in the meat and give that a good mix. Now we're gonna marinate this for 2 to 3 days. Okay, it's been 3 days and the tocino is ready to be cooked. Since there's a lot of sugar in this dish, we're just gonna cook it in low, medium heat. You don't wanna burn the sugar. Now isn't that beautiful? This is a traditional Filipino classic, okay? We love it sweet. But if you don't like it as sweet, just reduce the sugar. Do whatever you want. Let's make garlic bread. Alright, for garlic bread, you're gonna need a lot of garlic. Give it a rough chop. Chop some cilantro or parsley. Okay, we have a stick of butter, parmesan, lots of garlic, cilantro or parsley, pinch of salt, and mix it. I'll be using a ciabatta roll here. We're just gonna cut that in half. ever so carefully. Now spread the garlic butter, and we're gonna bake this until it's golden brown. After 10 minutes, I'm gonna put some cheese. I only put cheese on the other side so I can have options. I wish I have some pasta sauce to dip this in. Let's make fresh lumpia. This is a very underrated Filipino dish, in my opinion. Garlic. Green beans. Bean sprouts. I like to keep the tips, but you can take it out. Medium heat, add some oil. Add your onions and garlic. Salt. Your chicken. And a bouillon cube. Your beans. Carrots. Add your bean sprouts. Transfer your filling in a strainer because we don't want the wrapper to be soggy. And we're gonna make a wrapper. Flour, cornstarch, egg, salt, and water. Once you see the sides folding, shake the pan. And once it detaches, you're done. Alright, let's make the sauce. Now that it's boiling, add your slurry. Now bring that back up to a boil. Now for your filling, flip both sides. So gently, just roll it. Crushed nuts and some spring onions.